they assassinated it. The manual transmission, not by accident, by design. A calculated corporate execution masked as progress. They told you automatics were faster. They told you CVTs were smarter. They told you dual clutch was the future. Every word was a lie. A billion-dollar deception built to steal your control, your connection, your role as the driver. They turned machines into appliances, drivers into passengers. Part 1. The anatomy of control. Here's what no automotive executive will ever admit. A manual transmission doesn't just change gears. It fundamentally alters the relationship between human and machine in ways that threaten everything modern car companies want to achieve. When you drive a manual transmission, you don't just control speed and direction. You control engine RPM. You control power delivery. You control engine braking. You choose when to shift, how to shift, and what gear to hold for maximum performance. You're not just driving a car. You're conducting a mechanical symphony where every input creates immediate, predictable, unfiltered response. But here's where it gets truly revolutionary. Manual transmissions make better drivers, not just more engaged drivers. Objectively superior drivers who understand weight transfer, engine characteristics, and vehicle dynamics at a level that automatic drivers will never achieve. Because when you drive stick, you can't be passive. You can't just mash the accelerator and let computers figure out the rest. You must anticipate corners, plan shifts, modulate clutch engagement, and coordinate multiple inputs simultaneously. This creates a level of automotive skill that auto manufacturers discovered was extremely dangerous to their business model. Skilled manual drivers keep their cars longer. They modify them more extensively. They understand mechanical systems well enough to perform their own maintenance. They become enthusiasts instead of consumers. And enthusiasts don't buy new cars every 3 years. But the conspiracy runs deeper than just customer retention, because manual transmissions revealed something about modern automotive engineering that manufacturers desperately needed to hide. Automatic transmissions aren't superior technology. They're compromised technology marketed as progress to solve problems that manual drivers never had. And once you understand this deception, everything about modern automotive marketing starts to unravel. Part 2. The performance fraud. In 2010, automotive journalists started repeating a lie that would reshape public perception of transmission technology forever. They claimed that modern automatics were faster than manual transmissions in every measurable way. 0 to 60 times, quarter-mile performance, lap records. The numbers seem to support automatic superiority across every performance metric. But here's what they didn't tell you, and what manufacturers spent millions to keep hidden. Those performance advantages were artificially created through computer programming designed specifically to game automotive testing procedures. Automatic transmissions aren't faster because they shift quicker or more efficiently. They're faster because they're programmed to optimize for the specific scenarios that automotive journalists test. Launch control systems that deliver perfect starts from a dig. Shift mapping that holds gears longer during acceleration runs. Computer-controlled torque management that maximizes traction under ideal conditions. But strip away those computer aids. Put a skilled manual driver against an automatic on a road course where real driving skill matters, and the manual transmission advantage becomes undeniable. Because here's what computer programming can't replicate: human anticipation. A manual driver approaching a corner can downshift early, use engine braking to rotate the car, and select the perfect gear for corner exit before the automatic even realizes what's happening. A manual driver can hold a gear through multiple corners, maintaining optimal RPM for the racing line, while automatics hunt between gears trying to optimize for individual segments. A manual driver can exploit engine characteristics, rev matching for smooth downshifts, heel-toe techniques for trail braking, clutch manipulation for weight transfer, that no automatic programming can duplicate. This is why professional racing drivers, when given the choice, still prefer manual transmissions for road course work, not for nostalgia, for performance. But manufacturers couldn't allow this truth to spread, because admitting that skilled manual drivers could outperform their cutting-edge automatic technology would undermine decades of marketing investment. So they did something truly sinister. They stopped building manual transmissions worthy of skilled drivers, and that's where the real conspiracy begins. Part 3. The Sabotage Strategy. Here's the most evil part of the manual transmission eradication. Manufacturers didn't just stop promoting stick shifts. They deliberately sabotaged them to justify their elimination. Starting in the early 2000s, manual transmissions in mainstream cars became systematically worse. Longer throws, vague engagement, rubbery clutch feel, inconsistent shift quality that made driving stick a chore instead of a pleasure. This wasn't accidental. This wasn't cost-cutting. This was deliberate engineering sabotage, designed to make manual transmissions feel inferior to automatic alternatives. Meanwhile, the few performance-oriented manual transmissions that remained, in cars like the Porsche 911, Honda S2000, and BMW M3, continued to offer precision, feedback, and engagement that reminded drivers what they were losing. But here's the truly sinister part. Manufacturers had the technology to build amazing manual transmissions for every car. Rev matching systems, hill hold assist, clutch-by-wire technology that could have eliminated the learning curve while preserving driver control. They chose not to, because good manual transmissions create a problem that auto manufacturers can't solve. They make driving too enjoyable. When driving becomes engaging, people drive more. They keep cars longer. They develop mechanical sympathy that leads to better maintenance and extended vehicle life. They modify their cars instead of buying new ones. All of this is catastrophic for an industry built on planned obsolescence and frequent vehicle replacement. But the sabotage strategy had another, more insidious purpose. It was preparing the market for something far worse than just automatic transmissions. It was conditioning drivers to accept the complete elimination of manual control as technological progress. And that brings us to the most terrifying revelation of all. Part 4. The Autonomous Conspiracy. The manual transmission betrayal wasn't just about selling more automatics. It was phase 1 of a systematic plan to eliminate human control from driving entirely. Every automatic transmission sold creates a driver who's comfortable letting computers make decisions about vehicle operation. Every CVT conditions drivers to accept artificial, computer-controlled power delivery. Every dual-clutch system normalizes the idea that human input is inefficient compared to algorithmic optimization. This isn't speculation. This is documented corporate strategy. Automotive manufacturers have publicly stated that manual transmissions are incompatible with autonomous driving systems. Not because the technology can't handle it, because autonomous systems need complete control over vehicle operation. A manual transmission allows drivers to override computer decisions, to choose different gears, different RPM ranges, different power delivery strategies than what the autonomous system would select. This level of human control is incompatible with the subscription-based, software-controlled automotive future that manufacturers are desperately trying to create. Because here's what they're really selling: not transportation, but transportation as a service. Monthly payments for software updates, subscription fees for performance modes, planned obsolescence through artificial limitations that can only be removed by upgrading to newer systems. Manual transmissions represent everything this business model cannot tolerate: permanent ownership, indefinite usability, and human control that can't be monetized through ongoing service fees. But the conspiracy gets even darker when you realize what they're doing to the last manual transmission holdouts. Performance car manufacturers are deliberately making manual transmissions exclusive, expensive, and limited production to transform them from accessible technology into luxury collector items. The Porsche GT3 manual, the BMW M2 competition manual, the Corvette Z06 manual. These aren't transportation tools. They're automotive artifacts being positioned as investments for wealthy enthusiasts. This creates a two-tier system where manual transmissions become symbols of automotive privilege instead of basic driver choice. And once that transformation is complete, eliminating manual transmissions entirely becomes socially acceptable, even progressive. Part 5. The efficiency deception. But the most evil lie in the manual transmission elimination is the efficiency claim. The idea that automatics, CVTs, and dual clutch systems deliver better fuel economy than manual transmissions. This is complete fiction, and here's how they created it. EPA fuel economy testing uses specific drive cycles that favor automatic transmission programming, highway cruising at steady speeds, predictable acceleration patterns, controlled conditions that allow automatics to optimize for maximum efficiency. But real-world driving, stop-and-go traffic, variable speeds, aggressive acceleration when needed, conditions where manual transmissions allow skilled drivers to achieve efficiency that no automatic can match. A manual driver can coast in neutral down hills, can engine brake to avoid using friction brakes, can select optimal gearing for specific driving conditions, can eliminate the parasitic losses of torque converters, CVT belts, and dual clutch hydraulics. The result? Real-world fuel economy that often exceeds EPA estimates, while automatics struggle to meet their laboratory-optimized numbers. But manufacturers buried this data, commissioned studies that ignored driver skill variables, published efficiency comparisons that assumed incompetent manual operation against optimal automatic programming. And here's the part that will make you absolutely furious. They knew manual transmissions were more efficient when operated correctly. Internal engineering documents from major manufacturers confirm that skilled manual drivers achieve better real-world efficiency than any automatic system. They buried this evidence because fuel economy was never the real goal. Control was the goal. Efficiency claims were just the excuse. But the efficiency deception serves another purpose in the manual transmission removal. It provides environmental cover for eliminating driver choice. By claiming that automatics are more efficient, manufacturers can position manual transmission elimination as environmental responsibility instead of corporate control. This transforms opposition to automatic-only lineups from consumer preference into environmental irresponsibility. Brilliant, evil, effective, and it's working exactly as planned. Part 6. The maintenance money machine. Here's the financial motive that drives the entire manual transmission conspiracy. Automatic transmissions are profit centers, disguised as convenience features. A properly maintained manual transmission will last 200,000 to 300,000 miles. Clutch replacements every 60,000 to 100,000 miles. Cost $800 to $1,500. Total lifetime maintenance costs under $3,000. An automatic transmission? Complete fluid changes every 30,000 miles. Torque converter issues at 80,000 miles. Full rebuilds at 120,000 miles. Total lifetime costs exceeding $8,000. CVT transmissions are even worse. Catastrophic failures at 60,000 to 80,000 miles. Complete replacement costs of $4,000 to $6,000. No rebuild options? This isn't accidental unreliability. This is engineered obsolescence, designed to generate ongoing revenue streams from transmission repairs, replacements, and ultimately vehicle replacement. But here's where it gets truly sinister. Dealership service departments make more profit from automatic transmission work than any other repair category. Labor rates of $150 per hour, parts markups of 300% or more, diagnostic fees that turn minor issues into major expenses, manual transmission repairs, mostly clutch work that independent shops can handle, lower labor requirements, simpler parts with competitive pricing, minimal diagnostic complexity. The elimination of manual transmissions doesn't just steal driver control. It creates captive customers who have no choice but to pay premium prices for automatic transmission maintenance at authorized dealers. This is why manufacturers fight so hard against right-to-repair legislation, why they make automatic transmission software proprietary, why they eliminate independent repair options through serialized parts and encrypted control modules. It's not about vehicle security or technological sophistication. It's about creating permanent revenue streams from transmission complexity that manual drivers could avoid entirely. But the financial conspiracy has one more layer that most people never consider. Part 7. The insurance manipulation. Here's a secret that insurance companies and auto manufacturers don't want you to discover. Manual transmissions make safer drivers. Statistically, measurably, undeniably, manual transmission drivers have lower accident rates, fewer distracted driving incidents, better hazard awareness, superior vehicle control in emergency situations. This isn't opinion. This is actuarial data that insurance companies use to calculate risk, but don't publicize because it contradicts modern automotive safety marketing. Manual transmissions require constant engagement. You can't text while shifting. You can't eat while operating a clutch. You can't zone out when you need to anticipate gear changes. The result? Manual drivers develop situational awareness, hazard anticipation, and vehicle control skills that automatic drivers never acquire. But here's where the conspiracy gets truly evil. Insurance companies and auto manufacturers have quietly agreed to eliminate manual transmission discounts while maintaining higher rates for performance cars that still offer stick shifts. This creates artificial financial pressure that makes manual transmissions seem more expensive than automatics, even though the safety data suggests the opposite should be true. Meanwhile, modern automatics with their distraction-enabling convenience features contribute to accident rates that drive up insurance costs for everyone. But those increased costs are spread across all drivers instead of being assigned to the technology that creates the risk. The result? Manual drivers subsidize the increased insurance costs created by automatic transmission distraction while being penalized for choosing the safer option. This financial manipulation extends beyond insurance into financing, where manual transmissions are treated as specialty options that hurt resale values, despite evidence that well-maintained stick shifts often outlast and outperform their automatic counterparts. But the most sinister part of the manual transmission conspiracy is still coming. Part 8. The skill assassination. The manual transmission extinction isn't just killing a technology, it's systematically eliminating driver skill from automotive culture. And that elimination serves a purpose far more sinister than just selling automatics. When manual transmissions disappear, an entire generation of drivers loses the ability to understand vehicle dynamics, engine characteristics, and mechanical systems. They become consumers instead of operators, passengers instead of pilots. This skill elimination creates perfect customers for the subscription-based automotive future that manufacturers are building. Drivers who don't understand how cars work are more likely to accept software limitations, artificial restrictions, and ongoing service fees as normal. But here's the truly terrifying part. The loss of manual transmission skills is being accelerated through driver education programs that no longer teach stick shift operation, licensing requirements that only test automatic competency, and driving schools that have eliminated manual options entirely. This isn't market evolution. This is systematic skill suppression designed to create a generation of drivers who are incapable of operating vehicles without computer assistance. The result? Young drivers who can't drive manual transmissions, can't push start a car, can't understand engine RPM management, can't perform basic mechanical troubleshooting. They're being deliberately trained to be helpless without electronic assistance. And once that helplessness becomes universal, eliminating human control from driving entirely becomes not just acceptable, but necessary. Because the driving population will lack the skills to operate vehicles manually, even if they wanted to. This is the end game of the manual transmission eradication. Not just automatic transmissions, but the complete elimination of human driving skills that would allow resistance to autonomous systems. But there's one final revelation that changes everything. Conclusion: the resistance. The manual transmission betrayal represents more than just the elimination of a technology. It represents the systematic theft of human agency in one of the last mechanical relationships most people will ever experience. Every manual transmission that disappears takes with it the possibility of true mechanical connection, of understanding how machines work, of developing skills that create confidence, competence, and independence. But here's what automotive manufacturers didn't anticipate. Their conspiracy created its own resistance. The same collectors who recognized that naturally aspirated engines would become extinct are now hoarding manual transmissions. Porsche GT3s, BMW M2s, Honda Civic Type R. Every manually shifted performance car is becoming a collector's item because educated enthusiasts know they're buying the last examples of driver-controlled technology. And the values reflect this knowledge. Manual transmission cars are appreciating faster than automatics. Premium pricing for stick-shift options is increasing. Waiting lists for manual performance cars stretch for years. This creates a parallel market where manual transmissions become symbols of automotive authenticity, driver skill, and mechanical purity that automatic systems simply cannot provide. But the resistance goes deeper than just collecting. A new generation of enthusiasts is discovering that manual transmissions offer something that no amount of automatic sophistication can replicate: absolute control. Control over gear selection, control over engine RPM, control over power delivery, control over the fundamental relationship between human intent and mechanical response. And once you experience that control, that connection, that purity of mechanical interaction, you understand exactly what the manual transmission annihilation was designed to steal. They didn't just kill a transmission type. They killed the last connection between human skill and automotive performance. They eliminated the final barrier between driver and passenger. But here's the truth they're desperately trying to hide. That connection is irreplaceable. Manual transmissions create driving experiences that no automatic, no matter how sophisticated, can duplicate. And the people who understand this, who have experienced true manual control, will never willingly surrender it. The manual transmission isn't dead. It's been driven underground, preserved by enthusiasts who recognize that some technologies are too valuable to lose, too pure to compromise, too important to surrender. Every time you choose a manual transmission, you're not just selecting a gear change method. You're making a statement about the relationship between human and machine, about the value of skill over convenience, about the importance of control over automation. The manual transmission execution was never about building better cars. It was about building compliant customers. But the resistance is real. The skills survive, and the connection between true drivers and mechanical excellence remains unbroken, as long as people remember what they lost and what they can still choose to preserve. But there's one more automotive assassination that makes the manual transmission termination look like a mercy killing. Something about naturally aspirated engines and manual transmissions together that creates a driving experience so pure, so connected, so absolutely perfect, that manufacturers will do anything to prevent you from discovering it exists. Because what we found about cars that combine both technologies and why they're being systematically eliminated will fundamentally change how you understand automotive perfection. Subscribe, hit that notification bell, and next week, we'll expose the greatest automotive conspiracy of all, the systematic elimination of the perfect driving machine. Trust me, this one will make you question whether modern automotive progress is actually regress in disguise.